with another episode of the Major Music Lounge podcast. It's your host, D. Dot. And today we're actually going to have an artist, a producer, and a songwriter by the name of Priscilla Cruz on to talk about her latest single, Like I Always Do. Priscilla and I actually came across each other almost about a year ago. And every year, for example, if you follow like my YouTube or my Instagram, I do this thing called Beattober, and it's actually done by another music creator that does a lot of content on YouTube by the name of Tatro. But he does this every year, and Priscilla and I kind of cross paths during that, which happens October of every year again, and just been following some of her work since then. And Priscilla posts sometimes some of the music that she's working on within Logic Pro. Also, I follow her on Threads, and she does a lot of like inspirational quotes. We're gonna kind of get into that and just some of the other work that she's been doing and more. If this is your first time tuning into the Major Music Lounge podcast, I like to talk to other music creators, kind of like we're going to do this evening, and just about their journey creating music. Maybe they had a recent project that was released. Maybe they also release content. Maybe as an artist, you record your studio sessions or your shows, your performances. And, as far as like on the producer side, we've had producers on that have gotten like placements in film and television. We've had also other like sound designers on the podcast, for example, Audio Kit Pro founder Matthew Fetcher. He came on one of the episodes. But that kind of gives you an idea. Even like a PR manager by the name of Laurie came on most recently to talk about like music marketing. So that's kind of like the audience that this podcast caters to, as well as like some of the guests that come on the podcast. So you kind of fit that description. Please reach out to me on one of my socials at d._major music on Instagram, on Threads, and on TikTok. And if you're on X, Twitter, or whatever you want to call it, you could actually follow me at d.mme. Now, let's go ahead and get into the interview. Back with our guest, artist, singer, songwriter, Priscilla Cruz. What's good, Priscilla? How have you been?
I've been doing good. How about yourself?
Doing pretty good. Kind of like you said before we started, it's very hot here in Dallas. I think it's actually right about 100 degrees. Where are you? You're in California, right?
I'm in Cali. I'm in the East Bay, Livermore, and I think we're probably a little hotter than you today.
Wow.
Supposed to
Okay.
get up to 104, which is kind of interesting. I feel like you would be hotter.
Once it gets up there, though, it all feels the same.
Yeah, that's true.
So, Priscilla, tell us a little bit about, what influenced you to start creating music, and how long has that been, as far as creating music?
Yeah. Well, I've loved music since I was a little girl, so I can remember just singing songs all over my grandma's house and annoying her. But I think, and I did take choir in high school. I ventured into taking voice lessons after that in junior college. But I didn't actually start pursuing music in a more serious way probably until my early mid 20s. Um, and I don't know, like I've just always loved music and the way it brings people together, how it makes you feel, the way you can express yourself through song and lyrics and writing. So it's just always been something that has never left me, even when I took a little break. So that's why I got back into creating again. But yeah, I just love it.
Yeah, it's a very like it's kind of similar path you talked about, like being in choir, but like I was also like in band,
Mhm.
and after high school was really kind of when I started. like working with a couple of different beat making programs until I finally found something that I liked, and it was pretty much off to the races at that point. So
Yeah,
it's been a while. I started off on Reason, which kind of leads me to the next question. Now, currently, you use Logic, right?
correct.
All right. What got you into Logic? Like for me, for example, after Reason, I got into Logic, and um, one of the things that I liked about Logic just was the interface. I felt it was pretty easy just to get in and start creating beats, the whole mixing and mastering process, and it was just something that I stuck with, for all those years. And I use other things too, but at the end of the day, I still come back to Logic. What got you into, Logic as far as your DAW?
As far as my DAW, I think I started off with GarageBand, like when I was like, okay, I'm gonna record myself and figure this out. I have a Mac, so I knew that was available. And like you said, like the interface is easy. It's just easy to work with, in general, but for myself particularly. And then what's it called? What was it? Was that the question?
Oh, it's
Blank.
about
The heat is getting to me.
what got you into like Logic and yeah, what do you
Yeah.
like about
Oh
Logic?
yeah. So that's it. So I went from GarageBand, upgraded to Logic Pro X. And yeah, it's just easy to use. Like I have been like curious about Ableton just because like I know a lot of people who use it when they're creating beats and instrumentals. Um, So I'm assuming from the outside that it has more to do with the musicality of creating that, maybe. But for now, I think I'm just going to stick with where I'm at because I still have a lot to learn.
Yeah, yeah, and I kind of like that as well as far as like starting off with GarageBand, 'cause aside from doing music, I actually, I can't really talk about what I do on air, but it has to do with GarageBand. And I teach people how to use GarageBand.
Okay.
And that's kind of like a pathway. Like I've had other creators come in and similarly they've started there and they went to Logic Pro and they come in and like, I created my first album and I just think that's pretty cool that, because I think a lot of people want to sleep on GarageBand as a free app and a free
Mhm.
program. But I mean, it's just right having a very similar interface to go on to Logic. So I think that is pretty cool as well. I checked out actually a single, like I always do.
Mhm.
And I thought that was pretty cool. Nice vibe, positive vibe to it. Tell us a little bit about the concept and, the inspiration behind creating that single.
Okay. So it's funny you say like it had like a positive vibe to it. I think the music itself has this really, it gives off this kind of like happy, like cozy feeling. But if you listen to the lyrics, it's more a song about like a broken love type of thing. Um, I wrote that song on its own, so there was no music to it. I just kind of created the melody myself. I laid down a scratch vocal and then I got in touch with a friend of mine. His name's Nick and he goes by Panic City. And I was just like, hey, do you think you could put some music to this? And that's what he came up with and it like fit perfectly. So I was really happy with that. But that's how that came about.
Yeah, yeah. It was a pretty dope like vibe to it. I gotta go back and really listen to the lyrics closely because hear what you were saying. But like I think just saying something in there also like one of the things I liked about the instrumental is the drums. I felt it had
Mhm.
a very nice drum groove. Now were those like live drums or was just something
No,
that you
yeah, I think he just used plug and play drums.
okay.
He didn't play any instruments, but yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
He's
And
like, I
then
was trying to make them sound as good as I can get.
it sounds like live drums almost.
Well, then that's good.
Yeah. Now, you also talked about, and that's actually one of the questions I kind of like to ask too, because I create a lot of different ways, kind of like you were saying. Sometimes I like to write the song based off of just the vibe that I have at the moment and make an instrumental like that. Or other times I'll have an instrumental just sometimes sitting around. It could be something that I just made or something that's been around for, months.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden I find that one day where some inspiration hits. But like, do you have a preferred way, like one versus the other, or you just kind of create based off of inspiration?
Um, I think now, like back then when I was working more with other people, uh, it was strictly going off of people who would send me beats, or we were working together in the studio and building the beat, or like, I had a say in kind of what kind of sound I was looking for at the time. But now, it could be anything. So it could be something as simple as me hearing something on the TV and then just having lyrics in my head and then kind of running with that just on its own. Or I just have like this concept of a song I want to write with no music, like I did with Like I Always Do. Um, and create, I create the song, they create the music. And then also like I am also doing some of my own production. So the lyrics can come after, like, it just could be anything. I just don't, it just depends on what happens.
Yeah, yeah,
Sure,
and
like you never know really, like, it's just kind of, you sit down and you wait for it to strike.
yeah, it's like no set time when inspiration can hit. There's been times where I don't know, I'm chilling watching a movie, maybe sports on TV. I may hear a song at work and that just brings some inspiration somehow. Um, but I mean, I would say the overwhelming majority of the time, I think it's probably like 50-50. There may be just something that I think about and I come up with some lyrics. I gotta type in notes and then
Mhm.
I come back to it later, or I might use that to build a beat around it.
Yeah, yeah, I
Now,
think that's, yeah, that's what happens. And like some days I mean, there's some days where I crank the song out fully, from start to finish. And that's great. That's
that's
always good
always
when it happens.
always the best days when you can do a song from scratch in one day.
Yeah, right.
And like now transitioning to the next part, I remember like almost a year ago, really, we came
Mhm.
across each other during Beattober.
Yeah.
Now, I've done a couple of those, I think maybe 3 or 4 times. And shout out to Tatro. He's another creator that does this beat challenge every year. But like for me, one of the things that I've always taken from it is one, it's definitely helped me to build my network over the years. I've always met some pretty cool creators just because of Beattober. And then two, just the repetition, even if it's not like every day, for example, I don't know, maybe
Mhm.
it's 2 or 3 times a week you making a beat, but just the repetition, I think gets you better and better. And then, seeing that hashtag and all the creators, I don't know, you might get inspired that way as well. What has participating in Beatober like done for you in terms of creatively or even networking wise?
Yeah, I think so. That was my first one. Um, and I think I just came across it on his page and I was like, and I was just starting it's probably been 2 years now since I started getting back into creating music and wanting to put stuff out. And I was like, I'm gonna learn this on my own. I'm gonna do it. Like I know I have the skills to do it. So let me just kind of dabble. And so I saw that and I was like, okay, this will give me some accountability to really like discipline myself, and practice, at least try to practice every day. And I think I probably made it like 20, at least 21 days out of the 31 or something like that. But and then networking too, like, I got to come across people like you and some other creators and I have talked to them over this period of time now. And networking is always good. And I don't know, I just like the community of like in the creative space where everybody kind of we share this one thing in common and we're able to uh, connect through it.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's just pretty cool, like just to see how different people do their videos
Mhm.
creatively. Even like people that have like live instruments. I've seen people do like raps, but a combination of like a beat making video and a transition to rapping in between like scenes, so which I think is pretty cool. And like you said, also just the ability to be able to practice daily. But I think it really does a lot for you creatively, like just
Mhm.
seeing other people do what they do. You may hear something again that inspires you. So I recommend well, one for creators, if you make beats or what have you, definitely try it out. I don't know if he's doing this year, he usually does it, but it's where you make beats every day in the month of October, and it's just a way to challenge yourself. Now transitioning as well, are you currently like working on anything else like for yourself, or are you working with any artists?
I am working on my own stuff right now. So I dropped that single and then I have another one coming in August. And then I have a couple more songs planned to release like after that, which will at the end make up like a probably maybe a 5 or 6 song EP. So that's what I'm doing. And I'm working with some friends and funny story, but one of my coworkers, he just started at our uh job like in the beginning of the year. We got to talking, small talk, and he actually produces too. So we kind of made that connection and he's working on a track right now for me. Which is just so funny because it's like small world, right? Come across people on the same path, or aligned with you. So that was pretty cool. But I am also wanting to finish some stuff I have in folders and get that out. And that's like I do want to put together like a beat tape and put that out as well. So I have a lot of things I want to do. I just gotta get them done.
Yeah, yeah. I look forward to hearing, what you do. Do you have any more music like on Bandcamp as well? Um,
Oh, on Bandcamp, I think I have one track on Bandcamp called So Alive. That's something I did on my own. But then I also have a mixtape that's on there that's been on there for like since 2010. And that was a mixtape I did all over J Dilla beats.
okay.
Uh,
Okay.
yeah. So that's
So
like my little baby.
so you a rapper and a singer?
No, no, not a rapper. I mean, if somebody wants to write for me, I probably could pull it off. But no, it was that mixtape is just different. Like I wouldn't say it's like singy, but it has a lot of it's just its own vibe, honestly. And when I created that, I mean, I love Jay Dilla, I love his beats, like he was just different. The sound, it was his own. But it just and like that, I don't know. Those tracks I just wrote, like they were like coming like I don't know, just out of me. And it was fun because I got to experiment and try just different things. Like none of them, they don't all sound the same. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. That was a good one.
Yeah, I gotta go and check that out for sure.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
especially over some Jay Dilla beats. I love Jay Dilla as well.
yeah. I have some people who are rapping on them, like my features, the people
Okay.
that featured on it, but I'm not rapping.
Okay. P. Cruz the rapper. Now,
Hey.
I noticed you got a pretty cool setup there.
Oh yes, my
Yeah,
little
you got
car.
that chaotic ball. What's that? A arterial mini lab.
Yeah, I just got that this year, so that was my little gift to myself.
Is that the latest one? Cause I know they released two of them.
Um, I think it's the 6060. I don't think it's the latest one because this one doesn't have as like the I think the latest one has all the like a lot more buttons and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
That one only has like the 8 pads on it.
Okay, okay, yeah, yeah. I have the 25 in that
Oh,
same model, and that's
yeah,
pretty cool. And then I got quite a few MIDI keyboards. I got a complete control, and then I got an MPK as well.
yeah. I see
Mm.
all your gadgets. I see that
And
Raiders comment.
now, one talk we gotta have, the
Yeah.
Dallas Cowboys.
Don't be trying to say that and giggle. Gosh,
How,
everybody else does that to me.
how did you become a Cowboys fan?
That's like the number one question I get. Um, so I think, I mean, none of my family is from Texas. My dad was a Cowboys fan, my uncle, my aunt, my mom, like it just everybody was a Cowboys fan. And I think at the time it was just because it was America's team. Um, that's the only thing I can think of, but they were all Cowboys fans. And so of course that's what I was
That's what
born
you
into,
gravitate. Okay.
you know,
I
never
can
turned back.
I can totally understand that.
And I'm not a fair weather fan. Like when we suck, but I'm still gonna be a cowboy.
I could respect that, especially I give my friends over here grief all the time, but like any of my friends that don't live in Dallas, I could totally respect that. I don't know, it's weird how that works, but I just like to see them in pain down here, so that's why I troll them often.
Well, you're not the only one.
And yeah, but I've been out here 20 years and it's just kind of the fun banter we have every year,
Yeah.
especially with my coworkers and they'll come in, you see, we're going to the Super Bowl, we're going to the Super Bowl. And then a situation like the playoffs
And
happen
it's
and
like
nobody
psych.
won.
No, you're not. Yeah,
But
no,
hey,
you're
we'll
not.
see what
It's
happens.
all in good fun. It's all in good fun.
It's all in good fun. It's all in good fun. We'll see what happens this year. We'll see what happens this year. I just hope my team does better as well, but we'll see with that as well.
Yeah,
Um,
for
now, any like videos or performances that you have lined up as well?
sure. Only in my house. No, God, I haven't performed in forever. Like that's one thing when I was doing stuff, I was performing quite a bit for like a good year and a half, 2 years. And those were like some of the best times. I mean, if you performed like, it's like a adrenaline rush and it's just a lot of fun. But I don't know, like I create content mainly from home or that kind of thing. I don't think I don't know. Like, I don't foresee any shows or any videos anytime soon. I don't know if that's just not something I'm interested in, or you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
kind of like if it comes about, it'll come about. But I'm not, that's not my main goal, I guess, you know?
yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm
It's,
kind of like, yeah.
yeah, no,
Go
yeah.
ahead.
I guess it's just a little bit different because like the community I just everybody's got their own thing going on, people got kids and stuff like that. Um, and so back when I was working around like a bunch of people, we were all doing the same stuff, like the vibe was different. Like it just was like everybody was outside,
Yeah, yeah,
going to places, networking, doing things. And now it's kind of like a different uh atmosphere, like I talk to people more on the phone to connect and collaborate, which I'm grateful for. But I don't know, like, I don't know. I don't
yeah. I feel you. Like,
know.
I'm similar in that aspect of like, I think it's been what, almost 2 years since I've actually performed. But I've kind of went the route of content mostly. 'Cause I
Hmm.
feel like I benefit a little more for making content than like doing shows here. It's kind of the same way. Like a lot of my friends, a lot of my supporters, they got kids, they got to put to bed or whatever, and yeah, some of my friends live far away, so it's it kind of gets a little tough in terms of promoting, and I
Yeah.
found like creating content also is something that's helped me be able to like build fans in addition to network with other people, kind of like yourself as well. What has content, similarly done for you? I
Um,
noticed you also put out a good amount of content like on Instagram.
I do, and I think it goes in waves though. So
Mhm.
so I'm like the person who like pops in like, hey, I'm here for a
Mhm.
good, month or two, and then I disappear and I hibernate and I'm kind of like, I hate social media.
Mhm.
Like, what am I doing? And that's just how my brain works. Like I know if you have to be consistent and like to build a fan base, to build, you know, whatever it is you're looking for. Um, but I think for myself, like, I don't know, I just allow myself uh to not get too wrapped up in it, because then I'll burn
Yeah.
out. So I do what I can when I can.
Yeah.
But I do know creating the content, obviously, you are reaching more people, or you have the opportunity to reach more people from all walks of life, all over the world. So that, I don't know, I feel like when I do bring in new people that are not people that I know, personally, like I have conversations with them and it's not just kind of like, hey, I like your music. Like it gets like a little bit more open, like friendships in a way,
Yeah.
like, but based off of um what I am creating, or inspire. Like my main goal is to inspire people to be creative with what they want to do, like I think, yes, I promote my music and what I'm doing, but at the end of the day, like my goal is to inspire somebody to be like, hey, like what I should be doing stuff that I enjoy and I love. And like, what I'm saying? Like that for me is like my purpose in a sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's kind of also what motivates me, just showing somebody that, they can do this and being kind of like a resource for other up and coming creators as well. And I kind of take pride in that as well. And you're right, sometimes you have to step away because of burnout. You can't continue every day. There's a lot editing. It's a lot coming up with new ideas. And it's a lot also with that trying to create new music in the process.
Yeah, for sure. And I think too, like with social media, like it's a great outlet for, getting that exposure, but it also is like when you're too wrapped up in it, you can get lost in the sauce.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
you get like it can be overwhelming and like if you're just too much on it, then you kind of lose who you are, what you're trying to do from like the heart or from your, you know, yourself. So that's why I take breaks.
now, one of the things that I like that you do on social media is, following you on threads is you have your positive posts that you
Mhm.
post in the morning daily. So, I kind of wanted to let you know that I really appreciated a lot of those.
Uh, thank you.
No problem.
Devastating.
No problem at all. So, keep that up. And, before we go, is there like any like producers or artists maybe that you'd like to work with that you haven't worked with yet?
Oh, are we talking like who we wish we could work with?
Yeah, yeah, it could be
I
maybe
don't
your
know. I
dream
guess
collab.
my dream collab would probably be I would probably be Pharrell.
Oh
Um,
yeah. I could
like
totally see you on some Pharrell
yeah,
stuff.
like uh I I would say Pharrell, Prince,
Okay.
Missy Elliott, and
Okay.
Jay Dilla, and uh like they inspired me a lot, like with my music. But Pharrell, like production wise, obviously Dilla, but he's like not around anymore. Just because Pharrell kind of has always been outside the box, like he's not afraid to like try something new and have something sound different, and I like that. And yeah.
That's a very good list. Pharrell, Prince, and Missy. You know,
Yeah.
shout out to Timbaland and that production as well with
Yeah,
Missy.
Timbo too. Him
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
That's a very good list. I mean, that brings me back to like early 2000s. Like that was a great time in music around that
Mhm.
time. You had the Neptunes, Timbo, and not just with Missy, like he had a lot going around that time as well.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
And,
Yeah.
tell our listeners where can they find your music at and where can they follow you at as well?
Oh, everything is under Priscilla Cruz on Bandcamp, YouTube, Spotify. It's Priscilla Cruz on Instagram and I think on TikTok too, but I don't really go on there a lot.
Yeah, they're about to shut that down anyway.
Yeah, so
Go ahead, hit Priscilla Cruz with a follow. And, definitely wanted to say that we appreciate Priscilla spending some time with us on the Major Music Lounge podcast. It was just great to have this conversation, especially having to follow you this long and seeing a lot of the work that you've been doing and listening to some of your music. I definitely look forward to more.
oh, thank you. And thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem at all. No problem at all. You can follow me on Instagram at d._major music. Same thing on Threads, on TikTok, and I'm on Twitter as well, X at d.mme. And if you like this interview, please, if you hung around this far, go ahead, hit the like button and subscribe. And I like to put out new episodes of the Major Music Lounge podcast. Shout out to It's Priscilla Cruz for coming on and gracing us with her presence today. And we gonna definitely be talking soon again with football coming around. So
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
no problem at all. No problem at all. It's been D Dot and Priscilla Cruz, and we're out.
I move different rides, smooth time to merge lanes. Many come and go, this life in this rap game. I move different rides, smooth time to merge lanes. I just wanna get paid, you can have a fame. I move different rides, smooth time to merge lanes. Many come and go, this life in this rap game. I move different rides, smooth time to merge lanes. I just wanna get paid, you can have a fame.